Hello again. So welcome back to another drawing video. Since we were super technical last time with all the perspective and stuff, I thought I would do kind of a departure, not exactly drawing, but coloring with colored pencils as sort of a less structured activity for everyone. So the colored pencils that I'm using today are Prismacolor ones, so they're more of a wax-based colored pencil, so a little bit softer than, say, Crayolas or anything like that. So the techniques I'm showing today work best on wax and oil-based colored pencils. Just so you know, they might not work the same on Crayolas. Okay, so I was just going to show you a couple of ways to blend with colored pencils, because there are actually a lot of cool ways to do it. So if you like coloring books, or if you make your own art and color it, these are some ways that you can blend with colored pencils. Okay, so first of all, I'm kind of going to show here just a couple of ways that you can do the blending with just colored pencils. I'm going to use about 3 colors, I guess, because that's what I picked up. And I have just kind of a print off of some flowers. Okay, so first way to blend with colored pencils is just by layering them. So as you can see, my colored pencils are super sharp, and that's pretty important to being able to blend with layering, because you want to get the color from the pencil into all of the crevices in the paper. So that is called the tooth of the paper. Paper feels pretty smooth, but it has lots of little ridges and stuff, and you can kind of see that when you color lightly. You'll see kind of white gaps in your coloring. So in order to get the color into all of the little gaps, you want a super sharp colored pencil. Okay, so do this leaf here. So when you start out with your very, very, very sharp colored pencil, you don't want to go kind of, scribbling back and forth in different directions. Sorry, I can talk. I generally go kind of in, not circles, but ellipses, maybe. Not all in one direction. And so I just start to kind of pick up the pressure on the pencil as I go, fading it out as such. And what there probably shouldn't do, because you have oil on your fingers. So to wipe away the little bits, I use this makeup brush, or I should. Okay, anyway, so I've kind of faded it out there, and I'm going to switch to my next darkest green, and I'm going to start kind of way back here where the previous color is still pretty dark. And I'm just using kind of the same amount of pressure. I'm just going to go over it. And since the pencils are so sharp, it starts to get into all of the little nooks and crannies in the paper and makes it look smoother. So this isn't going to give a really flawless glossy blend like I'll show you later. Dang it. Next pencil now. But it's still, I think it still looks good, and I think it looks good for lots of kinds of art. And this will actually work with Crayolas and stuff like that that don't have as waxy a pigment. I was going to say lead, but it's not. Okay, sorry. Anywho, so this is just blending by layering. It's just basically kind of going over the previous color with your next one and making sure you're working in little small circles. Okay, so next way of blending that I'll show you, switch up colors to keep it interesting, is called burnishing. And that is when you purposefully flatten out the tooth of the paper. So you'll start light like I did back here, but then we'll go back and we'll actually put a lot of pressure on the pencil, and it will flatten out all of those little nooks and crannies so that you get all of the pigment right down in there. So I'm gonna start out like I did before. I'm working a little more quickly this time. I don't want you to be here all day. You have better things to do. Okay. So I'm gonna just layer up all of my colors kind of like I did before. so. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the middle color, and as you can see, as I start to press harder, I get a deeper color, and I also get a more solid color. So in the end, it's going to be a lot glossier, and you might even get some shine on there. Kind of, I'll see. I'll tilt the paper at the end, and we'll see if it's going to look shiny for us today. Okay, and then you just go back and you sort of push all of the colors right over the top until they start to slide around the paper and blend together, like so. So you can see that's much more kind of a more graduated gradient. Then you can see all the little kind of white bits in here. This is a lot more seamless. Like so. And you can work on that for a long time. You can keep going. Okay, so that again is called burnishing. And actually the next method of blending is a lot the same as this one, but you actually do that, the burnishing bit, with a colorless blender. So a lot of colored pencil companies, whatever, will make this colorless blender. The center is basically just a colorless wax, and it'll go over the top without changing the colors. So if you're trying to blend together like a yellow and an orange, you're going to get more of one than the other usually. This one will make it a little bit more seamless, so I will try to show you that on another leaf here. So you still want to put down quite a bit of the color, because otherwise it's going to look a little bit spotty. It's got to have enough of the color to move around, but you don't have to push it in as hard as I was over here. So again, I'm going to lighten up as I go, and then I'm going to add this next color here, and I'm going to add it right over the top, so that I have two things to blend together. Alright, and now you're going to take the colorless pencil, and this time you're going to press pretty hard. And you're going to move in the same kind of ellipses, little circles. No scribbling. Not today. Alright, so as you can see, I didn't have to push as hard, so I didn't need, I didn't end up colors as dark, so that's more of a kind of a pastel, so it's a little bit more true to the two colors that I put down there. So that's again with a colorless pencil. Okay, so the next version I'll show you is again kind of the same things as Colorless Blender, but I'm going to color with a kind of a neutral colored pencil. So this one has a color on it, it's just a light cream, I guess. And I'll show you on these two darker pencils, because this will provide like a tint, I guess. So again, we start all of these pretty much the same way, is by layering. But this time to do the burnishing, I'm going to use another color. Oops, don't press too hard. And so as you can see, it's tinting both of the colors that I used with this sort of really pale cream color. But in doing so, it blends them together. Okay, so those are kind of the burnishing effects that I'm going to show you. The next one I'm going to show you is using a paper stump. You can also use just a piece of paper or a cotton swab, like that. And this doesn't get as smooth a gradient on here, but I'll show you on this one. Let's start with darker. But you can still kind of push the pigment around a little bit, so you'll probably for this one want to put on a little bit more so you have something to push around. So a little bit more color on there. So you're going to be closer to burnishing at the darker ends, or the more pure ends of your color there. Whoops. And then we'll come to meet it with this one and layer it in the middle. And then you get your paper stump, and you can kind of squoosh them together. Very technical term. Color squooshing. And there you have it. It's another legit way to do it. So those are kind of the easier methods for color pencil blending. And now I'm going to show you the fun, messy ones. Okay. First one I'll show you is probably the messiest. This one, you really want to make sure you have something under your paper, or you don't care about what's under your paper, because we're going to use oil and it's going to bleed through a lot. I'm just using baby oil. Okay, oh, I should probably put some color down so that you can see what we're blending. Okay, let's do that over here. So, for this one, you don't have to make it super dark. We're just going to color as if we were doing layering. Just sort of keep it light towards the middle, but then make sure you do overlap your colors. Like so. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is use a cotton swab. I'm going to tap it off on a Kleenex. Then as you go over the top, it sort of becomes a little bit more paint-like, so you can really see that you're pushing the color all around. Very pretty. And then you can actually just, you know, sort of like I could push this darker color like way up into the yellow. So be careful. It's easy to go overkill with this. So that, again, that's baby oil, but I will show you that does bleed through quite a bit onto the other side. And that won't dry up as easy as this next method I'm going to show you. And that is with rubbing alcohol. Or any other kind of solvent, but I had rubbing alcohol. Again, neither one of these with the liquids takes a whole lot, so you definitely want to make sure you have something to blot. I'm going to be using a bit, and again, I didn't put color down first. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'll use these same two over here. I'll do 3 again. Okay, so again, want to put your colors down, layer it over the top. And if you don't have a whole lot of pigment on the paper at this point, with the rubbing alcohol method, you'll get blotches, so you definitely want to make sure you have an even coverage first before you do this. Unless you want blotches. Sometimes it could kind of look a little bit like watercolor, so depending on the look you want, you might want to experiment with that. Could be kind of fun, especially for something like backgrounds. It'll give you a really painterly effect. Okay, so I have my pencil down and I've just dipped it in here, and I'm really going to wipe it off. So a little bit goes a long way with this one. So I don't know if you can see that at this point, but it's really pushing it around the page. And if I'm not careful, I can actually paint it over into the white. It really spreads it around. So it's kind of just dissolving the wax base of the pencil, and it just leaves you with the pigment that you can kind of manipulate like paint. And there you go. Okay, so those are some cool tricks for using colored pencils. It's kind of fun to experiment with if you have coloring books, or again, if you do your own art, or if you just print off a picture like this one. So yeah, hopefully you guys will have fun with this and experiment, just have fun making art. So hope you like this video. Remember to subscribe to the Westland Public Library's YouTube channel and click the bell for updates. See you next time. Bye.